Hi, this is an introduction and a tutorial on how to use the PADDYButt or PADDYButton stack, which is part of the PADDY stack suite, available with the templates and projects from Webdesign. What we have here on the screen is a RapidWeaver 6 edit window, and there's a few things down here which I've already set up, so ignore all the things you're seeing down there. Just concentrate for the moment on this button at the top. This is the standard stacks button. You're looking at a page here, there's nothing else on this page. So this is just dropping a standard stacks button onto this page, and what you get is this quite highly styled button there. This is it in preview, and it doesn't really match a lot of current designs. Let's just put it that way. So we'll go back to edit, and one of the nice things about this stacks button is you can just edit it on screen like that and see what it looks like. So I'm just going to change it into PADDYButton. What I'm also going to do, I'm just going to copy a few of these so that I've got some of these to use. Now I'm going to just drop these into this here, which is the PADDYButt. And the only reason it's called PADDYButt is really it was getting a bit long with button on the end of it. So it's a button styler stack. And what you do is you take a standard Stacks3 button and you drop it inside the PADDYButt. Now this first one is the default settings, and if we have a look at the settings over here, we have some colors. We have a top color and a bottom color, then we have a hover top color and a bottom color. And by top and bottom, what we mean is the very top of this button here, that's the top color. Come down to here, that's the bottom color. So by making those different, you can create a gradient. And here we're going from a lighter blue to a darker blue for the normal color, and that's how the button's going to look until you hover over it. And then we're going to use these colors here where we have a lighter and then a darker one at the bottom, so it gives it a slightly gradient look. And then you can set up the text color. It's set to be white normally and then white for hover. Now one other thing about these is these support opacity, so you can change the opacity of that if you want to and get all sorts of interesting effects. So there are many combinations there, and you can also set the padding top and bottom here. So if you look at the button, you'll see it grows, so you could grow it up to a sort of foundation sort of size, or make it match something like the default settings match a sort of bootstrap size button, which looks quite different. And you've got the side padding, and then you've also got the button radius, so you can change the radius there and reduce that and make them square. So the default is 5, so that's it. So there we have it. That's the default setting. You can see how it takes the standard styling, and if I preview it, you'll see what the difference is. So these ones here are all the standard stacks ones. Now we come down to this styled button, and it's starting to look different. We've removed the border, the shadow. It's got a flat look and it's got a graduated look. So it's beginning to look different. Now let's drop another one of these standard buttons into the next one, and now you'll start to see how this can be changed quite radically, really. This one has a number of different settings. This one has the ghost button selected, so if you select it, it changes the function of these colors, and the first color top becomes the border color, and then the bottom color becomes the inside of the button. And if we click on this one, you'll see this one is set to pretty much a black, and it's got a 40% opacity, so we can see the background through there, and we can reduce that background to whatever we want, make it completely clear, or we can make it black, or let's leave it about 40%. And then the second one is the hover color of the border, and then we have again the inside of the button. In this case it's exactly the same, but we can change that so when you hover over it you get a different color. And then we have a text color. So in this case, we're going to get the orange when we go over it. We've got some different padding in here. We've got some different side padding. And you can set the ghost border down here. So when you enable ghost border, this little box opens up, and now you can change the size of the border. And this has been set to 2. Now, at the bottom of the PADDYButt stack is an advanced feature which you don't have to use. There's other ways of doing this, but it's nice and simple if you know what you're doing. And in this case, we're just increasing the letter spacing to 12. So it has an inline CSS style. You can put inline styles in there, or you can put a custom class. Now, if you're not familiar with either of those things, ignore it. Just leave it there. It's there. You'll either think that's a great feature, or you'll think I don't understand it. Don't worry, ignore it in that case. So you can see we've now got quite a different look to that button, and if I preview it, you will see, remember this is the button just dropped into the stack. You're seeing quite a different look to that button there. So we'll now come down to the next one, and I will drop another, again, standard button inside one of these. And this is looking quite different. In fact, I'm gonna do it with both of these because that will become apparent. Now, in this case, you will see that I'm dropping the PADDYButt here inside another stack, which is the Stacks for Stacks font stack. And this allows you to style text. Of course, what's inside the button is just text. So we can now style this, and in this case we're setting up a Google font called Roboto Condensed. Roboto Condensed is a nice condensed modern looking font. That's what's being used, and I'm setting the font weight to 700. Now you can do all sorts of other things, but some of these are ignored. For example, the text color is ignored because it's being set by the button. And then if we come down to this one here, what you will see is that we've got a lot of padding in this. We've set the radius to 3, and in this case we're using a ghost button, but instead of having a transparent background, the hover effect is going to be this bright pink. So we really want to draw attention to the fact that this is a button. So you can set that to a solid color or whatever, really. And also I have changed the font to Lobster. Lobster is a nice stylish Google font, and this is a 400 weight. Now that isn't reflected in the edit window, but if we preview it, you will see exactly what that looks like. So here we are. This is the smaller one we did, and now there is a sort of low opacity background in there with a thin background, and we're using a condensed font, the Roboto condensed font. And then if we go to the next one, we've got the Lobster font here, and this is obviously a very different looking type of font, but it illustrates the whole process well. So you can see how the pink is coming through on the background hover. We still have a semi-transparent background there so that you can see it on any background, and obviously there's a large, I think it's a 200% font in the Lobster font in there. So these are radically different to the standard font, and there are all sorts of different things possible. I shall just show you one other thing. You can put Font Awesome code in there. If you know what Font Awesome symbols are, you'll know that when you choose one, you get this type of little bit of code. You can just type that in there, and this is what you get. So I've made this Font Awesome one just slightly bigger just to make it look different, but again, it's another unique effect, and you can put that Font Awesome symbol wherever you want. You can have more than one. You can change the size of them. A lot of different creative capabilities there. Now, this last feature is a feature which wasn't even designed in, but when I realized what the button was doing, I thought this might work, tried it, and sure enough, it does work. Now, here we have a little bit of code, and if you sign up to an online system, an online shopping or payment system, what you will get for each item or product you're selling is going to be something like this. this is the sort of code they'll send you back, and you think, what do I do with that? And if you put it into a text stack or a HTML stack in RapidWeaver, you'll see this, and it just says buy now. And the idea is this goes off to the system. However, it doesn't look right, and you think, what do I do with it? Well, get a load of this. Watch. If you just now drop this into the PADDYButt stack, it will style it as a button, because a button, after all, is nothing more than is a link. So this is a styling of that sort of code. So if you are using PayPal or Paddle or many of the others, you can just drop your code that they give you inside the PADDY button and style it however you want. So it could look like any of these or any of these variations. So that's an introduction to it. The settings are straightforward. There aren't too many of them. It's hugely powerful because it has an inline CSS and a CSS class box in there, which you can do all sorts of stuff. And as we've seen, if you drop it inside a font stack from Stacks for Stacks, you can do whatever you want in terms of font spacing and that sort of stuff. I've just scratched the surface really with what you can do with this. It's a very powerful button styling stack, and it's part of our stack suite included with all the projects and templates. Okay, hope you enjoyed that.